This is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Hey everyone, I'm Alexis the Ego Queen. Love me. I know you do. Anyway, the big FAQ. I like how they called it the big FAQ. This thing is fucking ridiculous. So, I have not had the chance yet to actually go over this. So this is going to be my first initial reaction to it. And joining me today, I have Viggy the GM. He is going to be reading your questions, taking your comments that are really funny, reading them back to me, and also going over this as well.
Hello.
I didn't do ya. Hello, I'm Viggy the GM.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Viggy the GM. Wait, this isn't Queen's Court. Help! I'm being kidnapped.
Anyway, guys, this is my first look at this. I didn't even read a single thing during it. So excuse me if it just sounds like I'm reading things and just be like, this is it. I'm not one of those channels. This is just my reaction to it. Righty-o. Psychic focus. So if you guys didn't already use this rule, this is the I want to cast Smite 1,000,000 times in a turn rule, where it just consecutively goes up and up and up and up, kind of like your commander in Magic the Gathering every time it dies. So they give an example of it. It's the same thing that we've seen, the same thing that I've been playing with for so long. I mean, it got a little bit boring with the old way, so yeah. All right, targeting characters. Yeah, this is the whole character targeting rule that a lot of tournaments were actually doing. So, an enemy character with a wound characteristic less than 10 can only be chosen as a target in the shooting phase if it is both visible and visible to the firing model and is the closest enemy unit to the firing model. Ignore other enemy characters with a wound characteristic of less than 10 when determining if the target is the closest enemy unit to the firing model. This means that if any enemy unit other than characters with a wound characteristic less than 10 are closer, whether they are visible or not, then the enemy character cannot be targeted. This is something I was kind of hoping would be different, because if I have a dude, okay, let's go with a character. This is a Primus, a dude, and right in front of them, right in the middle, is a close combat. I cannot shoot this character. It is one of the things that's constantly bugged me a little bit, especially during a game when you're trying to shoot an enemy character and they just conveniently put themselves outside of a close combat and surround themselves. It's a little bit, yeah. Me nitpicking. I like this rule, though. It clarifies a lot of things, especially with characters not being able to block characters.
Alexis.
Yes.
In the Psychic Focus rule, the +1 to the warp charge value, the Grey Knights and Thousand Suns got an exception, so more reasons to hate Magnus.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Anyway, nah. I mean, Grey Knights kind of need it. Their army's a glass cannon. It's good, but it's kind of a better ally. Also, for everybody watching, I have pizza.
Woo. Wait, this is it?
No, there's a lot to it. There's 6 pages.
Right. Oh, no, sorry. Never mind.
Beta match play rules. I mean, I'm not too keen on betas. You know, they're usually like that one. No, I'm obviously joking. I'm gonna stop that joke right now.
Cease this tomfoolery.
Yeah. Tactical reserves. The beta version of Tactical Reserves updated and. All right, let's just go ahead and read all of this. Viggy, would you like to read Tactical Reserves real quick?
The beta versions of Tactical Reserve updates an existing match play rule presented. Don't scroll. Oh, sorry. I should probably open this up myself. Let me, I was just reading it off of the stream. Silly me. All right, let's try that again. Take 2. Tactical Reserves. The beta versions of Tactical Reserves updates an existing match play rule presented in the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook. The ability to arrive on the battlefield mid-game has always been powerful, enabling units that can do so to arrive where they will be most effective, whilst granting them immunity from attacks until they are on the battlefield. The original wording restricts the number of units that can do so to half your army, but the intent was half your army's strength, so we have further clarified this to be half the power of your army. Even so, armies that use heavy proportion of reinforcement units are dominating many gaming tables, often decimating their foes on the first turn, before the opponent has had a chance to move any of their own models. We therefore felt it necessary to rein in the power of these abilities, and so during the first battle round, such units can only be set up with their own deployment zone. This means that to be the most effective, such units may want to wait until the second battle round. Note that we have not applied this restriction to Genestealer cults or abilities and stratagems employed by armies such as the Raven Guard. The opportunity to deploy such units en masse after deployment is a central part of the design of these armies. So, that's the...
That sounds interesting, but it just seems like they're trying to push the whole power level thing to me a little bit. I like the ability of taking a really expensive unit and putting it in reserve. I mean, I guess you still could if you're doing like 1 or 2 things, but I was kind of hoping they would actually get rid of this rule to make a Space Marine drop pod army viable again. Although yes. I'm kind of I'm iffy about it.
Keep in mind, that wasn't the actual rule. That was just the explanation for the rule.
So let's get into the actual rule then.
Shall I?
Yep.
Instead of being set up on the battlefield during deployment, many units have the ability to set up on teleportariums, in high orbit, in reserve, etc.
We get it.
In order to arrive on the battlefield mid-game as reinforcements, when setting up your army during deployment for a match-play game, at least half the total number of units in your army must be set up on the battlefield, and the combined power ratings of all the units you set up on the battlefield during deployment, including those that are embarked within transports that are set up on the battlefield, must be at least half your army's total power level, even if every unit in your army has an ability that would allow them to set up elsewhere. Ooh, that's...
Okay, let's stop right there. That sounds terrible.
I mean, I think they're trying to just really stop deep striking shenanigans.
Let's just go over this really quickly. Most armies that did this had a lore reason for doing this, but it just seems like a Nemesis Strike Squad is meant to do that. A Grey Knight champion is meant to do that. Demons are meant to do this. It just seems a little bit weird that now you have to keep track of the power level of the army that you're putting down, which means you also need to know the entire power level of your army prior to the game. And if you're playing match point games, you're not doing power level, because power levels are probably the one thing I don't like about this edition. Great for new players. Veteran players like myself, we kind of hate these. So I'm a little bit meh about it. This is going to be interesting. I mean, in all fairness, I play a lot of armies that don't really require this. So if you guys have any questions about this, yeah. All right, continue.
Furthermore, in match-play games, any unit that arrives on the battlefield during a player's first turn must be deployed wholly within the controlling player's deployment zone, even if its ability would normally let it be set up elsewhere.
Okay, well, hang on. I know it's going to make an exception for Genestealers. The fuck? Well,
So people can't scout anymore?
No. Scouting and infiltrating are done differently than Deep Strike.
Right. Oh, it's arriving. Like, if you're going to deep strike, if you deep strike turn 1,
you have to
it has to be within your deployment zone. Yeah, but if you want to deep strike anywhere, you have to wait until turn 2.
All right. The hell is...
Trying to stop the turn 1 deep strike obliteration?
There would be absolutely no point to doing this if you were going first. If you were going second, however, this would be okay. But this obliterates demon armies. Like, what the hell are demons going to do? Their army is all about summoning and bringing in demons from reserve turn 1 to put them on the battlefield where they need to be in key locations. But at the same time, this completely stops... I get it. It stops first turn shenanigans of, I'm going to drop in anywhere that I want, 9 inches away from you, and just obliterate you. But it's not targeting key units from factions that I face. This is my personal thing. I face a lot of Chaos Space Marines who use cultists with the Alpha Legion rule. 50-man unit, all the way across the board, assaulting right into my face, turn 1, pretty much stopping every single thing that I do. But I liked this. I liked first turn deep striking because it punished players who didn't deploy well.
Alexis.
Yes.
There is a clarifying question being asked in chat. Question: since demons are only like, does this work differently for demons? Like, does summoning work differently?
No, if they're coming in for reserve, they don't. Vicky, hold the questions until the end, unless they ask it via super chat. Then they get answered right away.
No, never mind. It was relevant, like really relevant, and would have been lost.
So let's continue. This does not apply to Genestealer cult units being set up according to Genestealer cult ambush, which is... Genestealer cult have always been able to get around the rules, and I love that. All right? Forward operative, strikes, Finally, any unit that has not arrived on the battlefield by the end of the third battle round in a match play counts as being destroyed. All right, that didn't change. Okay, explaining Battle Brothers. I'm pretty much...
Wait, so this still, like, makes the third battle round destruction a bit worse, right? Because...
Yeah, you have to drop everything.
Like, think about it like this. So the sweet spot is turn 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you fail the deep strike roll?
There is no deep strike roll. You auto come in.
Oh, you auto come in. Never mind.
You auto come in every single turn if you want.
So there really is not much reason to deep strike anywhere else but turn 2, so that's just the deep strike phase?
Well, actually, one of the reasons that you would hold back on deep striking is to let your opponent deep strike first, and then pop in with your unit behind that unit that tried to ambush you and blow it away.
Right.
Okay, so, let's move on to Battle Brothers.
The beta version of Battle Brothers is a brand new match rule we like to test. It's also the name for Cato Sicarius. When we originally wrote this edition of Warhammer 40,000, we wanted to make sure that your army could include appropriate allies. For example, in an Imperium army, Imperial Guardsmen and Space Marines should be able to fight side by side. And in Chaos armies, Chaos Space Marines should be able to burn the galaxy alongside their demonic minions. The rules for what units could be included in each detachment were therefore very relaxed, but this has since led to some very mixed detachment that include units from far more factions than we originally envisioned. We feel that these esoteric mixed detachment are far better suited to narrative or open play, and so we have decided to trial this rule for match play games. This means that you can still include appropriate allies, but now they might need to be included in a different detachment. There are a few units in certain index books that could be difficult to include in a match play army following these restrictions, so we have written errata to enable players to more easily include these units in their army. These changes appear in the appropriate FAQ and errata documents, but are shown below for convenience. Do you want me to read the rules?
Yeah, Battle Brother rule.
All of the units in each detachment in your Battleforged army must have at least one faction keyword in common. In addition, this keyword cannot be Chaos, Imperium, Eldari, Ynnari, or Tyranids, unless the detachment in question is a fortification network. This has no effect on your army faction.
Oh, they just hit the soup armies.
Yep, so Imperium and Ynnari soup has been distilled.
No, they just made it so that you have to do them in different detachments, but they can still affect each other because they do share keywords with each other. So this means that for Ynnari, for instance, you're not going to be taking Dark Reapers with them because they won't gain the traits of the Eldar trait that's with them. Same with Chaos and Imperium. Actually, Imperium doesn't even give a shit. This doesn't even affect the Imperium.
No?
How would this affect the Imperium? I mean, for instance, this is how I do my tournament list for Sisters of Battle and Space Marines. Hang on, don't interrupt. This is how I do my my army list. I do one detachment of everything from one book. Then I do an allied detachment of Guard for 2 commanders or 2 field commanders, plus 3 units of guardsmen. No, the only upgrades being some mortars, just so they're under 10 models in the unit, so that way my opponent doesn't gain any additional points for killing them.
Oh, I think I get it now. So you can't use Imperium as the common keyword.
Yeah, you can. So it would be Space Marines or other things that they share a keyword with.
No, it has to be have at least faction keyword in common. This keyword cannot be Chaos, Imperium, Eldari, Ynnari, or Tyranid. So the common one can't be any of those 5.
I know, that's what I just explained.
Yeah, like, if you want someone, like, if something doesn't share a keyword that is none of those, that's, yeah, you have to go with, like, Convent.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this means that, yeah, it's just breakup of soup.
Yeah, it's just to break up soup armies.
Oh, that's
Tyranids
fine.
is an interesting one to throw in there.
Is that?
I mean, I guess it's to stop Tyranids from allying with Imperial Guardsmen. Just because you can ally... You used to be able to ally Tyranids with Genestealer Cult, and because of Genestealer Cult, you would be able to get Guardsmen. They wouldn't have their abilities, but they'd still be Guardsmen. Like, you would have a Tyranid list with a Shadow Sword on the field.
Alrighty.
Think about things like that.
This is just nice clarification.
Yep.
So, moving on.
Yep. Related erratas. Imperium 1, page 87. Damned Legionnaire's ability. Add the following ability. Saviors from beyond. As long as your warlord is from the Imperium, you can include a unit in a Vanguard detachment, even if that detachment contains no HQ. However, if you do so, that detachment's command benefits are changed to none. Okay, so you don't lose points for bringing Legion of the Damned.
So this is just to allow people to bring a squad of Legion of the Damned.
Well, like 2 or 3 squads, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of pointless. I mean, I get it. I get it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's not that good because the Legion of the Damned are just bad.
I mean, aside from the efficacy of Legion of the Damned, this is just nice to have.
It is, but at the same time, I view it as kind of pointless.
Okay,
right. Index Imperium 2, page 110 and 111. Wow, that's a... Oh, hey, no maiden rhino. Go for it.
Do you want me to go for it? Prosecutors, Vigilators, Witch Seekers, man. No maiden rhino abilities. Add the following ability.
You
no
don't need
maidens.
an HQ. It's the same thing.
Oh, right. So it's the same thing as that. So you can take a squad of Sisters of Silence.
Yeah, that's terrific. In a separate detachment, you can bring Sisters of Silence who have nothing added to their army. All right, GW. Thanks. And we do have a super chat thingamajig.
Yes, it's so you can still use index stuff with it. Oh, right. They mentioned this earlier.
Restrictions.
Yeah.
I totally understand that, but at the same time, it's,
Then there's the same thing for the Officio Assassinorum, just so that you can do the same thing.
Oh my god! Can I talk about assassins for a reason and why they needed that new character rule? Because people would bring nothing but assassins, and it was the most annoying thing to fight. When somebody can bring and show up with 12 assassins and you can only target one of them a turn, and then the one that you can target is a 6 to hit it, it's just like, oh, I hate you. I hate you. It also stops.
It's almost...
Yeah.
Go ahead. This is not the spirit of the game.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, that is kind of how assassins operate.
No, they operate singularly, not a group of 12 of them.
Not a group of 12, but a group of 4, yes.
Yeah, which went after Horus.
And
So
who did they go
what
after
threat is going?
recently?
Yeah, what threat is going to warrant 12?
Let's see. Who did they go after recently? It wasn't Eldred. I think it was just Chaos that 4 of them fought in the box set.
In the box set, that's just a 1,000 Sun Sorcerer.
Oh yeah, they wanted to kill him. That was the thing.
Yeah. Man, the value of the officio has gone down.
Well, I mean, the Vendicator is like the most useless assassin there is. I can shoot anybody on the map, but yeah. Okay, let's move on to Index Xenos, page 76.
Army of the Reborn. Replace this paragraph with the following. If your army is Battleforged and the warlord of your army is either Ivrain, the Visarch, or the Incarn, then you can include any of these model in any Craftworld's Harlequin or Drukhari detachment as defined in the respective codices, provided that the detachment does include any of the following: Urian Rakarth, Drasar, Mandrakes, the Avatar of Cain, or any Homunculus Coven units. You can include these models in the detachment even if you are using the Battle Brothers match play rules. So,
right. Eldar Soup is still there.
I mean, this is just clarification, but they still, like, matched rules play, like the Battle Brothers rules still affects, but this is just further clarification.
Yep, which still means you get Yvrain and, you unfortunately do get Yvrain and a bunch of Dark Reapers in a single detachment, which is still terrifying. Because Yvrain activates her ability, and makes them shoot twice, which is ungodly overpowered.
It goes on. If Ivrain, the Visarch, or the Incarn is included in a detachment, all Eldari units in the detachment gain the Ynnari keyword. Oh, crap.
Yep,
these right. Hold on. These units cannot use any of the following abilities and are not considered to have them. Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Rising Crescendo, Power from Pain. Is that anything?
Those are just the regular abilities from the other 2 books.
Instead, Ynnari infantry and biker units gain the Strength from Death ability as described below. The detachment is still considered to be a Craftworld's Harlequin or Drukhari detachment, and so can use Craftworld's Harlequins and Drukhari stratagems, warlord traits, and relics, respectively. Note that these units will not, however, gain any of the detachment abilities listed in their respective codices, such as the Path of War, Craftworld attributes, mask forms, Drukhari obsessions, etc.
Still, I'm reading it as... didn't really change. They took away a couple of key abilities, which is very good because the Eldari were ridiculous with having a soup army that had a shit ton of abilities, but now it's more going to play like a regular older Ynnari army where it just gains the Power of Pain, which is still their really powerful ability, or whatever their ability is actually called. Not Power from Pain, it's... you just said it, and I completely forgot what it's called.
Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Rising Crescendo, Power from Pain? Any of those?
No, it's the Ynnari one. Anyway, moving on.
Strength from Death?
Yes, there it is.
Right. So, moving to the next page, page 4.
Further to the above match play rules, we have decided to make a number of small erratas to enhance the balance of the game based on the community feedback. Okay, easy enough. All right, detachment command benefits. Go ahead and read this.
When creating a battle-forged army, the battalion and brigade detachment are seen as not offering enough command points for the number of units you must include. As a result, we will increase the battalion's detachment command benefit to +5 command points and the brigade detachment to +12 command points. These changes appear in the Warhammer, but are shown here for convenience.
Okay. Guard just got unstoppable.
I mean, conscripts are shit, so... Okay.
No, they're not. That's the thing. They're amazing. Everything in the Imperial Guard book is incredibly good, especially with their command point abilities. And now you have 12 command points, so the average guard list will include about 12, 24, 36 command points.
Yep. So,
that's a little ridiculous. Alright, so command points are +5 for the battalion detachment. Kind of like that because I only gaining 3 and then the 3, so now it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll get 10 per how I run my Sisters of Battle, which is how I'm really looking at this because that is my unit. That is my army designed for tournaments. So I'm going to be getting a bunch of command points to use against my opponent so I can reroll all the Acts of Faith if I need to, reroll Celestine, keep some extras for shenanigans during the game itself.
And denying psychic powers.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay, Tide of Traitors.
Tide of Traitors. Ooh. The Tide of Traitors stratagem appears to be too effective. As a result, we are changing it so it can only be used once per battle. This change appears in the Codex Chaos Space Marines errata, but is shown below for convenience. Yeah, you can only use it once. I don't know what that does, but yeah, woo.
I actually forget what that does. If somebody wants to use the super chat feature, she'd tell us what this does. Otherwise, we'll read it at the end. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but,
Word of the Phoenix.
Guard. Like, I can't get over just how good of a benefit Guard just got.
Alexis, quick. Oh, do you want to skip? Because... No, wait. I think we want to read this one. Word of the Phoenix. The Word of the Phoenix psychic power appears to have too low a warp charge value for its effectiveness. As a result, we are increasing its warp charge value to 8. This change appears in the Index Xenos 1 errata, but is shown below for convenience. Revenant Discipline Word of the Phoenix. Change the first and second sentences to read, Word of the Phoenix has a warp charge value of 8. If manifested, select one of the friendly units within 18 inches of the psyker that has not made a soul burst action this turn, an Ynnari infantry unit. Did they nerf the
they made it harder for Ynnari to double shoot. Yay.
That's pretty much all you wanted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Soul Burst is so powerful.
Not anymore.
No, it's still powerful. Especially with all the command bonuses and everything. An 8 on 2d6 isn't that hard when you have a reroll. Because the average on 2d6 is 7, and then the average on that reroll is going to increase it by another probably about 15 to 30%. So they're still going to get this, unless they rerolled that turn already.
Yeah, so just force them to... Can you...
Oh,
wait.
Tide of Traitors is to bring back your cultists.
Oh,
yeah, that was extremely powerful. Holy cow. Okay, thank you, Super Chat. You are awesome, and I love you. Yay. Also, using the Super Chat feature goes a long way to help supporting the channel, keeping me fed with pizza, and everybody knows that I love pizza. I'm a New Yorker after all, and keeps my lights on. Keeps me doing what I'm doing. So thank you to everybody who is donating via Super Chat.
It also pays for hot chocolate.
I love hot chocolate.
Yeah. Abilities which ignore wounds. Some units have abilities that allow them to ignore damage suffered, and it is possible for some units to gain more than one such ability. Pain Boys? No, wait. Mad Dogs?
No, Pain Boys. Mad Dog Grotznik has 3 different roles to try to ignore damage.
These abilities have stacked in an unintended way, and as a result, we have changed their interaction, such that if a model has more than one such ability, you will now only be able to use one of them against each lost wound.
Oh, that's not fair. I like the unkillable Mad Dog.
This change appears in the rulebook errata, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Ignoring wounds? Yeah, it's just... disgustingly resilient, the flesh is weak, tenacious survivor. Okay, this is just... Yeah,
They hit disgustingly resilient. Okay.
Yeah, so you can't use it more than once. Okay, next page.
Fuck you, Dungy.
Oh.
Anyway, organized play.
While the organized events on table one... Wait. Organized event table on page 214 of the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook already restricts the number of detachments players can include in their army. This does not currently do enough to encourage players to take diverse armies when attending events following these guidelines. As such, we have added an extra column to this table.
I'm just gonna stop you right there. No one gives a shit about this.
So this is not match play. This is just.
This is silly. It's like, oh, if you want to go up above 3,000, you use a 8x4 table. No, screw that. Use a 6x4. You put all 3,000 points on the table, crammed up against each other, just like the pictures, and you fight each other. I am
Wait
sorry.
a minute. Is this just a suggestion?
Yeah, pretty much. So
moving
with this, the only thing that I'm going to really care about is 8x4 tables are used for APOC 4,000 and up. I'm sorry, no. And once you go above 3,000 points, no organized gameplay is going to go that high, by the way. No tournament or anything are going to go to 3,000 points, except if they're at a big event and there's multiple players.
Ooh,
but I think this is kind of silly to include, especially that big FAQ.
It's fine. They probably just put it in there for let's just put it in there just cause.
Ooh, okay. So they did change point cost.
Indeed. Look down. You'll see the Craft Worlds units change. How much did a Dark Reaper cost?
Oh my god, not enough.
How
I can't
much?
actually check right now because I don't have my books. But if somebody in the chat can actually tell me how much Dark Reapers used to be compared to what they are now, that would be amazing.
Real quick, I have to do something. Oh, hey, it's night.
Commissar is now 15 points and not including war gear. That is awesome because 15 points for a character allows me to bring more guardsmen onto the table, getting more command points and using more broken abilities with them. Slide Marble is in here for 65. Chaos Demon units.
It would be nice if they included the change. Just for convenience sake. So
Gilliman went up to 400 points. I knew it. I knew he would go up to 400 points.
How much did he cost?
I'm surprised Celestine is not in here. 12 points before weapons. Yeah. No. What was the original point cost of this army of Dark Reapers? I just need to know that. Okay, so let's go through this. Dark Angels, Raven Wing, Dark Talon is 180. Craftworld units look like they all went up in points. Reboot Gilliman definitely went up to 400 points. That was desperately needed. He's a little bit
300?
powerful. He was, I think, 380 or something like that.
Okay, that seems fine then.
Biovores went up in points. Hive Tyrants with Wings went up in points, which is good because 7 of them won the one Adepticon.
Yeah, that's not
Fire
okay.
Raptor Gunship went up in points. That's good. Deathcore Creed went down in points. The Chaos Raptors went up in points, and that's it. So Celestine avoided yet another FAQ. Still being just as good as she used to be.
Isn't she even
Why
better
did the
than
Fire
she
Raptor
started?
go up in points? Fire Raptor has way too many guns and abilities and dumb stuff. And it went up in points because of Reboot Gilliman. Because your list would include 4 Fire Raptor gunships, Reboot Gilliman, re-rolling everything. Clarification. Not re-rolling everything, re-rolling ones.
Right. And that's it.
This is really a big update. I mean, let's
Wait a minute. What are
Celestine didn't dodge the
unit?
FAQ. How so? I would like to know that. Celestine got hit pretty hard. How so?
I don't see that in here.
No, I'm looking at it. I'm just like, I mean, I guess you can't take her along with Reboot Gilliman anymore, which is fine.
Yeah, she does fine on her own.
Well, you have to take her in a separate detachment of Sororitas.
Yeah. Which, doesn't it just mean you have to divide your armies, army up a bit?
Doesn't the big change to organization part mean that you can bring 3 of the same troop units in an army to most tournaments? Yes, that's what I'm reading this as. I could be wrong. I will have to double check this and go over this with a few other of my buddies. She cannot be included in a Soup Imperium army unless you take a whole sister detachment. That's not a nerf. That's actually a buff. Celestine is amazing, and most Imperial Soup armies are actually bringing Celestine and 3 squads of Retributors with 2 Imago-fires because they can fire twice a turn. So that's not a nerf. She actually got better because you're getting more command points with your other detachments. So it makes up for the fact that you're only getting 1 with this detachment. And Celestine is still nigh unkillable and still has the character keyword, so you can't target her. You can't hide her behind a character, which is fine.
Isn't the point of her to take damage and get back up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
makes Celestine a lot less appealing to soup armies. I disagree. Imperial soup armies are still going to be... it's still going to be the 3 soup armies that win almost every tournament. Tyranids may have taken a nerf, but yeah. So the 3 soup armies that I still think are going to take tournaments are going to be Chaos, Ynnari, and Imperium. Imperium is now going to be Space Marines, IG, and Sisters instead of anything else. I don't really see anything else being included. I don't think it's worth it. But my Imperial Soup army is pretty simple. I use Imperial Guard to take Shadow Sword. I use 3 troops, Shadow Sword, 2 HQs. Then I use Space Marines to take a bunch of Devastators. And I take Sisters to actually do the majority of the fighting. Because Sisters is cheaper and better than Space Marines. Just saying. But that's just me. That is just me. That is strictly my thoughts on it. I will probably go and have another video with Pablo from Frontline Gaming about this. See what he says about it. See if, because he's more of a tournament buff than me, more than I ever will be. He knows all the stats on all the big people in the 40k communities. I don't. So to me, this doesn't really affect me because I only ever brought a small detachment of Space Marines with my army anyway. And I never really... I main Sisters of Battle for tournaments, so to me, this doesn't affect me. Yeah. I could see how it affects everybody else, though. So, with that, let's get to a Q&A really quickly. Viggy, I'm sure you've been taking down questions as they've been going. Is that correct?
Indeed. So, first question that I didn't skip over. Question, since demons are only set aside as a pool of points rather than chosen as specific units, does this apply to demon summoning? This is to go back to the...
Yeah. I was thinking about that because you actually have to roll for the power level of your demons, so I'm assuming you have to... You have to assume the cost of the demons that you're summoning, and then you wouldn't be able to? Or does summoning get around this because... No, because they're reinforcements.
This could use, like, a bit of clearing up.
Yeah, I think a further FAQ is needed for demons themselves. Oh my god. God damn it, Sanguinius. I am disappointed that there are no special bonuses for having exactly 1998 point army values. Which conveniently is the same year that Godzilla came out. The American Godzilla. Anyway.
Go figure.
Next question?
Let's see. Someone asked again about if demons would have, like... Oh, crap. Hold on.
Anyway.
God damn it. Someone calls and I can't even answer them. How rude.
I know. Call him.
Yeah.
Time. Anyway, next question.
Actually, there isn't anything else marked as question.
Well, no, you have to go through and just dig them up. I didn't actually give you the post to actually put in, so you could do it. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me just read this real quick. To fill time, is there anything in here aside from Celestine that you think should have gotten a change and didn't?
Oh.
What the hell?
God, I just think Celestine needed a nerf. I also think they needed to clarify how infiltrators actually work if you go back and forth deploying infiltrators, or if one player gets to deploy all of his first and then thus making your infiltrators completely pointless. I think clarification on that would have been a bit better, but I think in ITC events they actually did make a rule on that. I could be wrong. Not 100% on that. I will have to double check that. But I had that happen to me in a tournament from an Eldar player, and it was a pain in the butt. Yeah. So further clarification on that would have been nice. But other than that, not really. Yeah, no. I think the units are actually playing really well. I think the Shadow Sword could have done with a points increase, but that's about it. Mostly because I think it just one-shot Titans off the table. It one-shots anything off the table, let's be honest. But yeah. Okay, everybody in the chat right now, if you have any questions, please write them down right now. Just put either at EgoqueenAlexis or question in the front of it. So that way I can get it. And if you feel like you want to be awesome and super cool, you could use the super chat feature, which is awesome and super cool. Anyway.
So we have Knight and Pre being silly. Would you like to dignify them with a response?
So does any of these, this move any army up or down in the tier list? I think at Knight, I think the tier list is a little bit too early to have an impact on this. So I would be interested to see what they, how this affects overall. So we need another big giant tournament, and I think the next one is, I want to say the next big tournament is Nova. And I don't think I'm wrong about that one. I think it actually is Nova. All right.
Quick question.
What do we got for the next question? Tactical reserves that will hurt tyranids. I assume so. Oh god, yes it does. It affects the Trigon coming in with his unit. That means you need something of equal point value on the field as the Trigon. Although you'll have Hive Tyrants. Because if you're not playing Hive Tyrants, you don't know how to play Tyranids. A Hive Tyrant and Biovore is usually Biovore. A Hive Tyrant and Broodlord is usually how I run them. There we go. Vicky, can you get that question?
Let's see. Question. Wait a minute. What changes would possessed need to make them good, or at least decent?
Can you start that question over? You cut out a little bit for me.
Oh, actually, I am... Oh, hold on. Never mind. I went over something. Question. How would you then go about making soup armies then, at least for narrative armies, aka Imperial/Ynnari armies? Does anyone...
It doesn't affect open play or narrative, these rule changes.
Yeah, it's match play. So, next question. Question. What changes would possessed need to make them good, or at least decent? Just anything, really?
I don't know. What would you say is the biggest change overall in the FAQ? Imperial Soup Army is getting nerfed.
Just soup armies, period?
Soup armies, yeah.
Alright. As a Dark Eldar player, I am disappointed they left the Tantalus Reaper sniper strategy available. This is silly oversight on Games Workshop part. Okay.
Actually, it's not a silly oversight. Right before this, they had a live thing on Twitter and Facebook where they said in the next few weeks that Dark Eldar will be getting their own separate FAQ. So they didn't forget it with this. They just didn't include it in this because they always do an FAQ like a month later from the Codex release. Yeah, it's how they've been doing it for the past few months.
Right. Question. How much do the command points changes to battalions and brigades screw over armies reliant on Outrider, Spearhead, and Vanguard detachments?
I mean, you just have to take 3 troop choices, and if you do bog standard troop choices, no upgrades on them, it doesn't really affect you too much, but I can see where you're coming from, because my army, damn it, Vicky, my army was always a battalion, outrider, and a spearhead detachment, and then I would have my transports. So it doesn't really affect me, but I can see how it would affect other people. And to be honest, I think this is too much of a buff to Imperial Guard. Like, I'm going to be completely honest right there. Imperial Guard are probably going to be tier 1 with all the command points. That's my opinion. I base this on absolutely nothing. It's just my opinion. Okay, next question.
Why haven't they moved down the price of Repentia? Repentia didn't need a nerf.
Yes, they did. Repentia are garbage. Like,
no,
literally.
Move down. Oh, that's a buff. Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
they needed to go
they
down
want
in
cheaper.
points.
Oh, so cheaper Repentia then.
They desperately needed to go down in points. Repentia are just trash. They're just garbage. Like, there's no way of justifying how bad Repentia are. They hit on 4s. They wound on... They're strength 6, so they're not wounding too effectively anymore. Their AP is only -2. They're just... And it's D3 damage. It's just... They're not a good unit. With no armor save, barely any additional movement. They do get to fight twice if you use a fate point on their Axe of Faith, but at that, they're just gonna die before they even swing. In fact, I have several battle reports that include Repentia doing absolutely nothing. Okay, next question.
Question, with a command point change, do you think this will open up new builds or just more of the same?
Not new builds. You're just gonna see Outriders and battalion detachments, Outrider detachments, Vanguard detachments, and Spearhead detachments. Just include 3 additional troop choices that are dirt cheap, just to get as many command points as possible. I personally think it's kind of too big of a buff. If it went up by 1 command point, I would have been okay, but 2 command points is huge.
Question, what will you add in to replace your dominions over your 3rd? What does that mean?
I'm not going to replace my dominions. My dominions are awesome.
Well, there you go.
I usually take, for my army, I usually take about 4 to 6 units of dominions because they're just too powerful. Like, it doesn't, yeah, no, I'm just going to take dominions. Dominions are amazing. Dominions, Retributors, Seraphim, Celestine, and a bunch of Canonesses with fusion pistols, and 3 units of Sisters of Battle, probably with no upgrades now. Actually, it'd probably be down to 6 units of Sisters of Battle with no upgrades. Yeah.
Question, so Chaos only got 1 thing nerfed? Well, points-wise, the Chaos Fire Raptor assault gunship got points increase. And aside from Chaos Soup?
Actually, Chaos took a huge hit with Demonic Summoning.
Isn't that like still on the fence whether they get an exception?
I mean, they have to have half their power level on the battlefield. So at most, they have to deploy and check the power level that's on the field, and then double that so that they can know how much that they can summon. And they have to be able to keep track of not only the points, but the power level that they're summoning, because they cannot summon anything that exceeds the points on the battlefield. It's actually a huge restriction. I went back, checked it. It is a massive nerf. So that means if you have, let's go with 15 power level on the field, because you took bare minimum stuff, you can only summon 15 power level. That's it.
Damn. If true, like they may clarify that later and say, yes, it's that way, or no, it's not that way. But until then, yeah. Oh. So, question, is green still best? Orks didn't take, like, any problems from this.
Orks didn't get a nerf or a buff. They're still terrible.
Oh, well, there you go.
I love orks, but oh my god, their codex needs some love badly.
I mean, they just need their codex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Question, is Lanesh pleased that her battalions got exactly enough extra command points for another use of Endless Cacophony?
I know, right? That is awesome. I am so happy about that.
Question, all I need to know if the Space Wolves dodged the FAQ, and if not, how bad did they get hit? Nothing at all.
They did get hit. So, essentially, you can't soup your army up in one detachment. But other than that, there's no real hit. They dodged the points. They dodged pretty much everything. It's because Space Wolves are kind of in the same boat as every other Space Marine chapter, where they're pretty much garbage.
Like, was anyone taking Space Wolves into soup?
Yes, the Thunderwolf Cavalry is pretty good.
Oh, wow. There you go.
one of the biggest things is there's 3 Space Marine codexes. There's Codex Blood Angels, Codex Dark Angels, and Codex Ultramarines. And that's the 3 codexes. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, actually, Alexis, it's Codex Imperium. It's Codex Space Marines, and it includes all of them. And to that, I just have to say, yeah, but I could take Gilliman and Ultramarines.
Oh my gosh, Alexis, that doesn't even work according to the rules.
Actually, he went up to 400 points. You can't really take him and everything else that you want. Yes, I can. Because I don't bring troop choices. I bring scouts, and I bring artillery pieces to put around Gilliman. I'm going to be fine. I usually surround him with Devastators and Predators, which you're going to see in a battle report coming up soon, and just see how effective that is.
Woo.
Okay, next question.
No more questions, just comments.
Okay, sweet deal. Summoning Poxwalkers and Cultists just got a nerf. Yes, they did. You have to keep track of their points now. Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like I might be misreading this, but I'm pretty sure that I'm reading this correctly. And
now,
it just seems bad. I'm not gonna lie, it just seems bad.
Like, you set aside point value for your summoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make sure that you actually have the points set aside before you deploy it, right?
Yep, for summoning.
So from that, you can get a power level, and yeah, I mean, I'm starting to lean towards that. That this is a massive nerf for summoning armies.
Oh, it definitely is.
But not Genestealer cult. But yeah, they can start with so much.
Well, Genestealer cult can't summon anymore. That's their biggest nerf.
Yeah,
that was the nerf from 7th to 8th edition. Is they can't just immediately summon in another unit. It would be cool if we got the codex that they did do that, similar to how demons summon, and then be completely immune to this rule. I'd be okay with that.
So...
You can't warp time anymore. Oh my god, you can't warp time Mortarion anymore.
You can't?
No.
Why not?
You have to take them in the same detachment to affect each other.
And now you can't.
Oh, wow.
That's
that makes
big.
Mortarion even more useless. Oh my god, that is actually kind of huge. Huh.
Yeah, I think, like...
Wait, can separate detachments still affect each other? Because if so, you would just have to take a, you would just have to take a detachment that includes Thousand Suns to affect Mortarion.
Don't they have the Chaos Key? No, separate detachments, never mind.
Yeah, I gotta go over the faction keywords again so that I can get this whole thing organized.
Yeah. I get the feeling that this will, like, shaking this FAQ down will require a lot more, like, closer scrutiny to find out all the nitty-gritty changes that this affects.
So this guy's saying you can't warp time something that comes in from Deep Strike. Yeah, I know. You always warp time something that was on the field. So you can still pass it on Mortarion. Yeah, never mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can still do it. That's kind of cool. I mean, yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end this video right here. Thanks, everybody, for coming, checking it out. If you missed the beginning where we start going over this, please go back and rewatch this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment, you know, typical YouTuber shit. Also, if you want to support this channel, look in the link in the description down below. There is a link to my Patreon. It also gives you access to my Discord, where we talk about pretty much anything. It's very nice. Also, on my Patreon, you can see my modeling pictures, which is kind of cool. Speaking of which, I might get published again. That's going to be fun. Anyway, guys, I'm Alexis the Ego Queen. I love you guys. Bye.